All right, testing my mic here. And there we go. Hello everyone, welcome back to my stream. And today we'll be continuing with our Node.js course. So I don't think it needs any further introduction. Let's just begin. So yesterday we left off at the half hour mark. So we'll start from here and skip if needed.
Functions are the building blocks of our applications. It allows us to group together statements to perform a task. We define statements, and we can use a name. Yeah. What is a function? And those computes specify values. So we know that functions are a building block in our programs. They enable us to group together a block of code, which is a set of statements defined within curly braces. One thing I want to clarify is the purpose of functions. We create a function for one of two options. The first is to perform some action, and the second is to calculate and return some value. So not all functions require us to explicitly use the return keyword. By default, if we don't supply an explicit return value, then JavaScript will have the function return the value undefined.
My mouse cable is just set in a weird way right now.
num1 and num2. Then the curly braces to define our code block, and then I will return the product of num1 times num2. So now if I were to call or invoke that function, I can say console.log, the output is result, and then I will call it. I'll say multiply, passing in 2 times 2. Save it, open up the panel, up arrow, and run it. And here I see the result of 4 was outputted. Now, if I did not use this return keyword, if I were instead, for example, to store in a variable, const product is assigned to this operation, then JavaScript will return the value of undefined by default, since I did not supply an explicit return keyword. So if I run it again, here I see the return value multiply was undefined.
Yeah, so in Python, functions return none by default, and in JS or in Node, it would be undefined.
What are the two reasons to create a function? You would create a function either for it to perform an action or to calculate a value and return that value. Let's summarize what we covered in this section. If this is your first time learning this, I don't expect you to memorize everything from the start. With continued practice, you'll pick it up and it'll become second nature. Be sure to view the GitHub repository associated with this project and review the project files related to this section. So variables are used to store temporary data. Data can be categorized into 8 different data types. Of these 8 data types, 7 of them are considered primitive data types. They are called primitive data types because they are singular values or...
Yeah, I asked this question yesterday, like which are the primitive data types. So string, boolean, number, then there's big int, then there's undefined null. There's one more which have I missed. Symbol. Right. So these are the 7 primitive data types, and object is a reference data type apparently because it's more complex.
or simple values. These primitive data types are strings, numbers, booleans, null, undefined, big int, and simple. And the 8th data type are objects. Objects are key value pairs, and they are not a primitive data type because they are a more complex data type and don't just store a singular value. There's also a built-in data structure called arrays, which stores a list of data, which is one of the most used structures that you will use as a developer. We also covered functions, so rather than having to copy and paste code and duplicate it, we can simply name a block of code, which is just a group of statements. Great job on completing this section, and with that, I'll see you in the next section. In JavaScript, we can operate on our variables by using operators. These include arithmetic, assignment, comparison, logical, and bitwise operators, which serve as fundamental building blocks for our applications. We'll be diving into each of these in this section. An expression in JavaScript is something that produces a value. An expression goes on the right side of our variable assignment. So in JavaScript, we have different mathematical operators, which include subtraction, addition, multiplication, represented with an asterisk sign, division, represented by a forward slash, and the modulo operator. So modulo is the remainder of division, and it's useful as it helps us determine whether a number is even or odd.
Is there a floor division?
Over the panel, and type node, and enter. So now that we're in interactive mode, we'll go through different examples. So if I do 2 plus 2, that results in 4. Likewise, if I do...
I guess there's no, let's try it out actually. Not. So 5 floor divided by 2. Interesting that there is no floor division, but this doesn't return a error for some reason. What about this? That's that's weird. Okay, is there floor division in Node? Yeah, you have to use math.floor. Apparently, there's no separate operator as such, but it's weird that using 2 double slashes doesn't return a error for some reason. Maybe it's used for something else.
For minus 2, we get the result of that. So an example of multiplication, an example of division with the forward slash symbol, we get 2. Now an example of the modulo operator, let's say if I were to do 10 modulo 2. So this says is 10 divided by 2, and it will return what the remainder is. So return 0, so we know that this is an even number. Likewise, if I did an odd number divided by 2, then we get the remainder of 1. We can also raise to the power of, let's say if I do 3 raised to the power of 2, and that results in 9. Now we also have the increment and decrement operators. So if I initialize, let a is assigned to 10. Now if I want to update this value, I can say a is equal to a plus 1. Now JavaScript provides a shorter syntax where we can use syntactic sugar and say a plus equals 1, which accomplishes the same thing. Now
I think till here we'll just create one single operators file and just
shorter. We can do a plus plus.
right what we have recapped.
Now
Yeah.
the is the following. When I have the 2 plus operators after the variable, it will return the current value stored at the variable a, and then it will increment it after. If I have the 2 plus operators before the variable, then it will increment the value, then it will return that updated value. The same functionality also applies for decrementing the value. I demonstrate that, such as a minus equal 1, or I can do a minus minus, or minus minus a.
Should I choose DevOps as a career route or should I go for SRE? Oh wait, even cloud.
Demonstrate that, such as if I have the 2 plus operators before the variable, then it will increment the value, then it will return that updated value. The same functionality also applies for, we can also increment by say a plus equals 1, which accomplishes the same thing. Now we can do it even shorter. We can do a plus plus, and this will increment the value. We can also increment by doing plus plus a. Now the difference is the following. When I have the 2 plus operators after the variable, it will return the current value stored at the variable a, and then it will increment it after. If I have the 2 plus operators before the variable, then it will increment the value, then it will return that updated value. The same function current value stored at the variable a, and then it will increment it after.
Oh, I see. A plus plus would return 12, but after that statement is run, if we try to log away, it would be 13. We do plus plus a, it just increments and then returns the incremented value.
If I have the 2 plus operators before the variable, then it will increment the value, then it will return that updated value. The same functionality also applies for decrementing the value. I demonstrate that, such as a minus equal 1, or I can do a minus minus, or minus minus a.
Can you do asterisk, or would that actually did he mention that there's a there's no exponent operator here, so maybe we can do asterisk, and that would actually, does that make sense? Let's create a new file and check for ourselves. We'll call this operators.js equals 1. Actually, let's use x, because that's what I think. X is the most popular variable name there in math, right? So obviously you have your just do console.log. Plus plus x, this should return 2, I believe. And let's run the node file. How do I quit? Maybe this exit, control C. Oh wait, okay, great. So there should be node watch operators.js. Yeah, I had to save it. Okay. All right. And what if we this would print 1 again, right? And what about asterisk actually? Like, I mean, I don't think that makes sense for 1. But let's just see if that, no, that runs. Okay, I guess we can't do asterisk because yeah, it doesn't make much sense. There is also your star arcs and quarks. I don't remember exactly if they have that in Node, but yeah, maybe that's the reason. So what about this? Oh, of course, the double slash would turn out to be a comment statement. I guess for that you have to just oh, actually it's just one bracket. I mean one forward slash, isn't it? So this should return 0.5. And this should return 1. Oh, actually it returns 2 because the value is not assigned here, so it makes sense. Then is there would this return 4? Okay, return something, but that wasn't 4. I guess actually let's just console.log x here real quick. Oh, x. Obviously here x value is 1 divided by 2, you get 0.5. 1 times 2 is 2. So this should print 1, right? Okay. And we oh, actually let's do one thing here. Let's do x equals 5, and this is print 25. Oops. Yeah. It does. So the double asterisk does indeed mean exponent. Then but just to confirm, there isn't like this, right? Yeah, it doesn't work. Better do math.4, I guess. What else can we do here? Is that, oh yeah, obviously the modulus operators that I forget about that. I think that should cover all the arithmetic operators. Alright, let's continue with the video.
raised to the power of 2, and that results in 9. Now we also have the increment and decrement operators. So if I initialize, let a is assigned to 10. Now if I want to update this value, I can say a is equal to a plus 1. Now JavaScript provides a shorter syntax where we can use syntactic sugar and say a plus equals 1, which accomplishes the same thing. Now we can do it even shorter. We can do a plus plus, and this will increment the value. We can also increment by doing plus plus a. Now the difference is the following. When I have the 2 plus operators after the variable, it will return this or minus minus a. What arithmetic operators are available in JavaScript? On numbers. These include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, increment, decrement, and exponentiation. There are 4 ways to increment a number in JavaScript. You can do num is assigned to num plus 1, or you can use the shorthand of an operator being a single equal sign, such as let programming language assigned to JavaScript. The single equal sign does not actually check for equality in JavaScript. It's an important distinction that stands for assignment, as in assigning a value to a variable. Later in this section, I will show you how we can check if 2 variables or 2 values are equal in JavaScript. What does the single equal sign stand for in JavaScript? The single equal sign stands for the assignment operator, and we use it to assign a value to a variable. When dealing with numbers, we often use comparison operators. These comparison operators include greater than equal to, less than, and less than equal to. The result of using comparison operators in an expression is a Boolean value, so it will result in either true or false. I'll show you an example of each of these, and it'll make more sense. So I'm going to declare this variable. I'll say let num1 is assigned to 14, and I'll say let num2 is assigned to 10. Then I'll declare a constant. I'll call it is num1 greater, and I'll assign that to num1 and then greater than num2. So what I have highlighted here is the expression, and this will result in a Boolean value, so a true or false value that will be stored in this variable. So I'll log it out. Console.log is num1 greater, and let's log it out. So in the panel, I'll say node control flow, and I see that is true. It results in a Boolean value. So let's consider other scenarios. I'll just rename this variable to make it more descriptive. I'll say is greater than or equal to, and just copy that over. And I'll change this comparison operator to be greater than or equal to. So open it up, and I'll just run it again. Now I'll show the case when, and change this comparison operator to be less than. So this is asking, is num1 less than num2? So just rename this to be more descriptive. I'll say, is num1 less than? So the actual name of these variables is arbitrary, but I do want it to be descriptive for anyone reading this program. So this returns the result false. Now I'll check if num1 is less than or equal to num2. I'll just change the name of the variable as well. So is num1 less than or equal to? What are the comparison operators in JavaScript? The comparison operators are greater than, equal to, less than, and less than equal to. For checking for equality for 2 variables, we can do so in 2 different ways. So we know that using one equal sign is for the assignment operator. Here if I just initialize some variables, say let b is assigned to 2 as a string. So one equal sign is not for checking equality. So to see if 2 values equal, we can do so through 2 equal signs. So here if I do console.log a equals b. So this is known as loose equality when using 2 equal signs, because you're comparing a number.
Just type it out fast if you can. Num1 creature. Yeah, that should be true.
And if I do say let b is assigned to a equal.
Yes, they are equal to this. I just want to know if this works. I think it does, so we'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Equals b. So this is known as loose equality when using 2 equal signs, because you're comparing a number and a string. So let's output this to see the result. So this results in true. The reason why is because this evaluates in JavaScript what is known as truthy. So let me show you the other way of doing comparison, which is with strict equality. So I would do console.log a equal to b. So using 3 equal signs is strict equality. For the first type, when doing loose equality, it converts into a string by converting to the same data type and then comparing the values.
Yeah, but the second one, the value and the data type has to be
So strict
string.
equality compares as is without doing any conversions. So I'll output it. So when doing loose equality, it evaluates to true. And the reason is because these are 2 different data types. We are comparing a number data type and a string data type. To show you another example of how JavaScript converts values with loose equality, I'll show you 1 equal to 1 represented as a string. And so even though these values are different data types, JavaScript will convert it for us. So we'll evaluate to true. Let's comment these previous ones out here. Comment it out and comment that one. So once I output it, here we see it evaluates to true. Likewise, if I were to do true equal to 1, JavaScript will convert these into Boolean values before performing the comparison with loose equality. Right, so in order to avoid this confusion, stick to strict equality and use 3 equal signs.
Yeah.
What is the
Do.
assignment operator? The assignment operator in JavaScript refers to using a single equal sign in order to assign a value to a variable. What is loose equality? Loose equality in JavaScript refers to the comparison of 2 values using 2 equal signs without enforcing type similarity. When using loose equality, JavaScript performs type coercion if the values being compared are of different data types, attempting to convert them to a comparable form before making the comparison. This process, known as type coercion, can lead to unexpected results if you're not aware of how the values are converted. These 3 examples show how JavaScript would perform loose equality. What is strict equality? Strict equality refers to using 3 equal signs or checking for equality. This will return true if the values are equal and of the same data type. In JavaScript, we have something called a ternary operator. So the ternary operator is a conditional operator that allows us to write cleaner code. Oftentimes, you need to perform a comparison and store values. Let's go into an example. Say let age is equal to 16, and I want to determine if I can drive. So I perform a comparison, so age greater than equal to 16. Well, in that case, I can use a question mark and then true or false. So let's break this down. Highlighted, I have the comparison, comparing the value at this variable and this number. So this question mark is the ternary operator, which means that if this results to true, then it will return true. Otherwise, return false. Let me console log it, console.log, can drive. Opening up the panel, panel is control and backtick, or view appearance panel. So up arrow,
Oh yeah, this is like how you have in Python you can just write assign this value if condition as this value. Here you have to use question marks and colons and whatnot. So first you have the condition. If that's true, then you assign whatever value comes after. Else is represented by this colon. You do false. It's all coming back. All right. So. And try. Oh, okay. No, you have to write the condition first. So is age greater than or equal to 18? If so, assign true. Else you can assign false. And we'll console.log and we'll use I think it's called template literals, right? Like the f strings of Node.js. Okay, so .log person of age no, where is a backtick located in my keyboard? There we go. So a person of now I need to use the dollar symbol. Actually, can you have a ternary operator inside the print statement? Let's check. I know. I need to replace this, don't I? So should be like this. Can can he drive? Then put can as put can. No, right. See if this works, people, and it sure does. If I put it to drive, yep. Let's put it to. Let's just keep it at 12. What I put 80. Yeah. Great. Now what was this section called again? Yeah, ternary operator. I have a feeling I'll be using them quite a lot.
execute it, and we know that's true. So now I will comment this out since we no longer need it for now, and I'll show you another example. Let's say let points is equal to 110, and the output of determine what the customer type is. So if points is greater than 100, in that case, we determine gold in the case when it's true, or silver in the case when it's false. So I'll put it console.log customer type. So this
42 lakhs per annum.
Wow, 42 lakhs, that's your salary?
Yes.
And what do you do?
42 lakhs per annum.
Wow, 42 lakhs, that's your salary?
Yes.
And what do you do?
Can I skip this
use
ad?
logical operators to make decisions based on multiple conditions. There are 4 logical operators. Logical operators are the OR operator, the AND operator, not.
Just
no,
like a
operators,
deja vu
not same type, not just
situation.
boolean. Starting with the OR operator, which is represented by 2 vertical lines. So there are 4 possible logical combinations, and I'll show you each. I'll console log true and use the logical OR operator represented by 2 vertical lines. In this case, I'll just do true. So what this expression does, the expression I've highlighted, true and true, as long as one of the operands.
Oh yeah, one. What do you call this actually? Yeah, this is a pipe symbol, right? So one pipe is like OR and 2 pipes is AND.
Is true,
Right.
then it will return true. So I'll just log that out. Null operators.js. So we know that. The other option is if the first is false and this value is true. So in this case, we know that as long as 1 is true, then it will return the value as expected. Right? So we know that. Now, if the first is true and this is false, same result as expected. Then we log that out. And the last option will be when they're both false. Pull up the panel and run it one more time. So long as one of the operands is true, an expression will evaluate as expected. But if operand is not a Boolean value, then it will be converted to a Boolean value for the evaluate. For example, the number 1 is treated as true and the number 0 as false. So the OR operator is evaluated from left to right, and for each operand, converts it to a Boolean. And once it finds an operand that resolves to true, it stops and returns the original value of that operand. And all operands that evaluate to false, then it returns the last operand. And the value is returned in its original form without the conversion to a Boolean value. I'll show you another stops
So
and
what's
returns
that?
treated as true and the number 0 as false. True, an expression will be when they are both false. Pull up the panel and run it one more time. So long as one of the operands.
True, false, or true would be. How is this true? Wait. Is this OR operator or this is not an AND operator, this is an OR operator.
And the last option
I
will be when they're both false. So in this case, so I'll just log that out. Null. So what this expression does, the expression I've highlighted, true and true, as long as one of the operands is true, then it will return true. So I'll just.
okay, he said true and true, so I was a bit confused. This is obviously the OR operator. So yeah. Alright, so let's do okay, there we go. Be or operate or that twice. So true or false. And you have false or false. Yeah, false or true. And yep. Okay, that's correct. And we have our AND operator. The ampersand sign. There we go. We're gonna replace these double pipes with the AND operator. That returned a number.
In this case, I'll just do true. So what this expression does, the expression I've highlighted, true and true, as long as one of the operands is true, then it will return true. So I'll just log that out. Null operators.js. So we know that. The other option is if the first is false, this is false, converted to a Boolean value operand that resolves to true, it stops and returns the original value of has reservation. I'll close the panel, has reservation, or accepting walk-ins. Log that out. Open the panel or run it, and see it evaluates to true. I'll consider the AND operator. So AND returns true if all the operands are truthy, and false otherwise. Now all other cases will be false. So false and true.
So you need to use double amber. Okay, then what is okay, what happens if you use a double ampersand? Oh, it returns a Boolean value, but when you use a single ampersand, it still evaluates it as an AND operator, but it returns a number instant. Okay, let's do a bit of digging here. So, and what is this? And not. All right, so let's see. It seems like double ampersand is logical, and which gives me always a second value if both are true. Um, first and third return 72. What? Well, and seems to be an okay, okay. Great. Someone is explaining. I'm happy to see someone is explaining in Python terms. Amazon seems to be all right. My initial thought is that there is an ampersand sign in Python. Okay, that's an operator. I haven't. I think I've seen it, but I haven't used it at all. Let's just. Jeez, why can't I find the ampersand sign on my keyboard? Okay, and Python is a bitwise operator. Performs bit by bit operations. 14 in binary is okay because that's 2 plus 4 plus 8. Yeah, that's 2 plus 8. And on these will give us 1010, which is bitwise. And on these two, why does it give us 1010? Okay, I obviously understand this, but and operation on the result of both statements. So then the second condition is checked. The compiler is doing bitwise and operation of the results on statements. The other statements again. The value of 4 in binary is 0000. Okay. How many? Okay. That's 7 zeros and 1 in the third place here. That makes sense. 2 to the second power. And yeah, that's 14. All right. On performing bitwise, we get. I might be wrong here. I'm just assuming what the bitwise operator does, but does it do check 0 and 0 first? Obviously, at 0, then it repeats, and when it comes to the what's it, fifth position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sees 0, it compares it with 1, so 0 and 1 gets evaluated to a 0 and it puts it there. But here both are 1, so it puts 1 here. So it returns 4. Alright, okay. Interesting. What is the use of bitwise and then yeah, this bitwise and in general? Yep. Yeah, my guess was right. My guess for the use case was right. To clear selected bits of a register in which each, I guess it's this operator becomes useful in like low level code. Perhaps so. Okay, anyhow, that was interesting to know. Move on. So, in general, I think I'll be just using this, this double ampersand sign always. Yeah, it makes sense now why first and third return 72. Probably the bitwise representation gets like compiled to 72 somehow.
True and false, and false and true. Running the panel, node operators.js, and here we see as expected. So this operator
So, let's with that knowledge, let's replace this. There we go. So that's yep, it's just true for true and true, and it's false for everything.
evaluate from left to right.
That's
And converts each operator
great.
into a boolean if it is not already a boolean type. And once it discovers one of the operands to be false, then it stops execution, which is known as short circuit evaluation. To show you a more real world example, say let h equals 16. I can say let as car equals true.
Short circuit. I think that's another name for lazy evaluation, isn't
And
it?
say const can drive age is greater than equal to 16 and as car. Now let's log that out. Here it evaluates to true. So note that the precedence of the AND operator higher than the OR operator. So just to give you a visual of that, console.log a, let's just make it let a equal true and b equal true and c equal true and d equal true. Then if I were to write this expression and say a and b or c and d, then this value up here is actually the same as this, as if we were to write parentheses, just to show that using the ampersand holds higher precedence and is evaluated first before the OR operator, just to demonstrate that. X is the Boolean not operator represented by exclamation point, so it converts the operand to a Boolean type, true or false, and it returns the inverse value. So let's just say if I were to do console.log of true, then whatever this current value is, it will return the inverse, it will return false in this case. Here, it evaluates the false. So let's say if I were to do let is closed on Sunday, if that's true, then I can say const is restaurant open, 2 is closed on Sunday, then I can console log it, then I can run it. And here we see it returns the inverse of this value. So let's close that. So the last operator is the nullish coalescing operator, represented by 2 question marks. If a value is null or undefined, then we can supply a default value. So an example of that, let's say let a, let's just assign it to null, and we want to determine what the result is. So if a is truthy, right? So in this case, it is not.
What would not null return? Would it return true? Yep, it returns true. And what about not undefined? That also returns true.
Not, so we need to apply a default value. So using no coalescing operator here, so this being the default value. So if I just log it out, result, right, so fine, then we can supply a default value. So an example of that, let's say let a, let's just assign it to null, and we want to determine what the result is. So if a is truthy, right, so in this case, it is not, so we need to apply a default value. So using no coalescing operator here, so this being the default value.
Okay, what operator is that? That's new to me.
It's truthy, right, so in this case, it is not, so we need to apply a default value. So using no coalescing operator here, so
No call, okay,
If you want to become
What
a
is
Python developer without having any prior knowledge on the subject, then join
function is defined in a different context. And utilize these comparisons and these conditions to execute different code. So if I utilize if else statement, I can say if the node operators.jv is conditions of not evaluates to false by being given the default value. To make better sense of this, I'll show you that this is actually syntactic sugar. If we were to do the longer format, it would be a not equal to null and a not equal to undefined, and using the ternary operator, which is a question mark. So this expression is condition.
Okay, I didn't get the name of what this operator is, so we're just gonna Google it real quick. N not. We had to specify that it's an operator. Okay. Oh, alright, that's a big name for an operator. How do you actually pronounce it? Nullish coalescing place. Okay. Hmm.
Coalescing.
That's a robot voice. Okay. Wait, I'm just gonna call it the nullish operator. Yeah.
Condition is evaluated, and if it's true, then return A, otherwise return false. So what we did before is just the shorthand version of this. It provides syntactic sugar and cleaner code and easier to read for us.
Let's just
What are operators?
print that.
Logical operators in JavaScript are special symbols or keywords used within expressions to perform logical operations. They primarily involve Boolean values, however they can be applied to values of any type, not just Booleans. The result of these operations is to determine the logical relationship between the operands, typically resulting in a Boolean value that indicates the truthiness or falsiness of the combined expression. What are the 4 main logical operators in JavaScript? The 4 main operators are the AND operator, the OR operator, the NOT operator, and no coalescing operator. What is this operator and how does it work? This operator, represented by 2 vertical lines, is the OR operator. It compares 2 operands, or 2 values, and as long as one of them results true, then the expression will return true. What is this operator and how does it work? This operator, represented by 2 ampersands, is the AND operator. The way it works is it compares 2 values, or 2 operands. When both operands results to true, then it will return truthy. What is this operator and how does it work? This operator, represented by the exclamation point, is known as the NOT operator, also sometimes called the bang operator. So this value returns the inverse of the operand that is used with. For example, if the exclamation point is used in front of a variable, and that variable is assigned to the value true, the exclamation point will have it return the inverse, it will return false. What is this operator and how does it work?
The nullish.
This operator, represented by 2 question marks, is the no coalescing operator. What this does is it allows
Yeah, he said some short form null coas something operator.
to supply a default value in case
Alright.
the operand used in front of the question mark is false. JavaScript is different from other programming languages. One way that it differs is in its use of logical operators and how they can be applied to non-Boolean operands. I'll pull up the panel and go to View, Appearance, and the panel. So if I were to enter node and compare false or the string Stephen, here we see Stephen is returned. Using the OR operator, it returns the first true value, so you see that this string is evaluated to true. So in JavaScript, the result of a logical expression is not necessarily true or false. So it looks at the operand, and if it's not a Boolean value, it will then try to interpret it as truthy or falsy. So in JavaScript, something that is falsy, which is different from the Boolean false, encompasses the values of undefined, null, 0, false, the empty string, and not number. Anything not falsy, anything which is falsy, which is different from the Boolean false, encompasses the values of undefined, null, 0, false.
So these are falsy values and everything else are truthy values, I guess.
false, the empty string, and not a number. Anything
And yeah, I think an empty array in Python is falsy, but in JavaScript, it's I think it's supposed to be truthy, right? Let's test that out real quick. Convert an empty array to boolean, and yeah, it's evaluated true, which I don't know. I like the Python interpretation better because the list is empty, so you know I personally feel it should be validated to false instead. But yeah, I guess these are the only values which are evaluated as falsy, and everything else just are truthy values. Right. So that's undefined, null, zero, false,
not false,
not a
does
number.
not fall in the category that
Why do we? What's the purpose of not a number? Is it just to confuse developers out there? Um, why NaN in JavaScript? Yeah, but why? Why? Oh, what is the need for this? Why was NaN introduced in JavaScript? Alright. That is a number which results from math operations which make no sense. I mean, if it doesn't make no sense, then it would have been best if it just errored out, right? Yeah, you can't take square root of negative one, although I believe that's an imaginary number. Okay, yeah, that you that's just you can't do it. Yep, you definitely can't divide by zero. Alright,
I
okay.
just mentioned is considered truthy. Now to show you another example, you can consider false or 1 or 2. The result of this is 1. JavaScript evaluates this from left to right. Since 1 is considered truthy, then JavaScript can perform short circuit evaluation and return immediately.
Yeah, or lazy evaluation, and it just stops there because it knows, hey, I don't need to continue.
This means that JavaScript will stop once it can successfully determine the result, and it doesn't have to evaluate every operand. So to provide a more real-world example, let me initialize user's chosen color is assigned to blue, and we'll say the default color is green. Now we can determine what is the current website color. So I'll say user chosen color or default color. I'll console log it.
Yeah, so if user's chosen color is something like something falsy, it will return the default color.
Current website color. Because both of these values are strings, JavaScript will convert these to Boolean values and consider whether this is truthy. Node operators.js. And here it evaluates to blue, but if I were to delete blue, it'd be an empty string, then JavaScript would evaluate that to be falsy, and it would return the default color. What does the term falsy mean in JavaScript? So this term applies when you're using logical operators with non-Boolean values. Since logical operators deal with Boolean values, which means values that are true or false, if you're using a non-Boolean value, such as a string or a number, JavaScript needs to be able to convert that value into a Boolean value, into a true or false value. What are the falsy values? JavaScript has a set of non-Boolean values which it considers to be falsy, meaning that when JavaScript converts these non-Boolean values into Boolean values via type coercion, it evaluates the false. The falsy values consist of null, undefined, not a number, the empty string, 0, and false. These are the values that JavaScript will consider to be false. How do logical operators function when applied to non-Boolean values? Logical operators
Converts
are evaluated
to
from left to right. If you're
false.
using the or operator, once JavaScript evaluates an operand to be truthy, then it will return let name assigned to the string test, the constant result equal to false or
All right. So result would be test, right?
name. What is the value stored in the variable result? Precedence. The value stored will be the string with the word test. So operator precedence. I'll
Right.
initialize this variable 5 plus 5 times 4, and then I'll console log the result. Console.log and then n. The node operators.js. Here it evaluates to 25. So previously in JavaScript, everything has been evaluated going from left to right. It's more readable and the same result for us. But here it's just a bit more readable.
Want to build your own version of ChatGPT? Join us for this amazing opportunity.
To summarize the section on operators, we covered the arithmetic operators, which include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulo. We covered the assignment operator, which is used for assigning values to variables. We covered the comparison operators, which use greater than equal to, less than, and less than equal to. We covered the equality operators, such as loose equality, which uses two equal signs, which will have JavaScript perform type coercion to compare the underlying values of the operands, irrespective of the data type. Instead, we should use strict equality, which uses three equal signs, to ensure that we are checking that the values are the same and the data type is the same for the operands that we are comparing. We covered the ternary operator, which provides syntactic sugar for conditionally assigning your value depending on a condition. So if the condition is true, use the value specified after the question mark. If the condition is false, use the value specified after the colon. We covered the logic operators, which include the or operator with two vertical lines, the and operator, which uses two ampersands, and the not operator, which uses an exclamation point. This concludes this section, and I will see you in the next one. So now rename this file to control flow. Control flow. So programming is powerful as it enables us to execute different code.
Right. It's
based on conditions. This is what enables us to provide
Wait,
dynamic and
that
personalized
file?
communications to end users. The fundamental programming concept that enables this is conditional statements, more specifically if-else statements. So previously we've considered, let's say if I were to do price of chocolate equal to the number, that decimal value, and let's say let has amount in cash assigned to 5. Well, we can use comparison operators and store the result of this Boolean operation. So you can say can buy chocolate equal to has amount in cash, and if that is greater than or equal to the price of the product, then we can determine whether this is true or false. I'll just log out. Let a node control flow JS, and we know that that's true. Now if I were to log out instead, the type of this variable, and this will determine what the data type is. So if I execute that again, we know that is a Boolean result. So the result of these comparison operators, we know it will be a Boolean result. So we can utilize these comparisons, these conditions, to execute different code. So if I utilize an if-else statement, I can say if, which is a built-in keyword in JavaScript, and I can utilize this variable in parentheses, which is known as a condition. Then I'll do curly braces, and within these curly braces, I can write statements that will be executed. This condition is true. So I can say console.log, enjoy your purchase. So now execute this program, and we see the string enjoy your purchase. Now let's say if I were to make this person only had 99 cents in cash, then if I were to execute it, then we see that that is not logged to the console, as this is not true. It would be false in this case. So let's go back to send the value 5. Now rather than just logging out in the case when it's true, we can also log in the case when it's false by using an else statement, which is built into JavaScript, and we will log in this case.
That's an expensive chocolate, isn't it? Okay, so if amount in hand is greater than or equal to toy cost, I mean, let's compare with the chocolate first, right? If as it doesn't really make sense for us to have a if else if and else here, right? Or maybe it does if I put this to 25 just for that purpose. Right. You can, if this is also very expensive because of inflation. Okay.
Case console.log. Sorry, you do not have no. So execute both
Okay.
cases. Once again, we get the result. So only this code is executed in this case because this value is evaluated true. Now let's go to 099. Now we'll see which statement is executed and which is logged in the case when can buy chocolate is false. So here we see this was logged to the console. So to show you a different example, remove that. We have two types of conditionals in programming: the if-else statement, which is used most commonly, and we also have switch case statements, which I'll be covering in the next lesson. So let me consider a more evolved example to show you what else you can do with if-else statements. Let me initialize. Let's say let hour is assigned to 10, for example. I want to do different conditions to determine what types of food a restaurant is serving based on the time. So let's say if the hour is greater than 6 and the hour is less than or equal to 12, then it would serve breakfast. Console.log serving breakfast. Let's log this out. So it's currently serving breakfast. Now we also want to consider the case when it would serve lunch. So let's say else if the hour is greater than or equal to 12, which would say it's greater than 12, and
If it's between 6 and 12, so breakfast. If it
the hour is less than or equal to 14, then in that case we will log console.log serving lunch. Let's open this up and log it out.
Right.
This value, let's say it's 1 o'clock. Then we see that it's serving lunch. Now in the case when we'll be serving dinner, let's say else. Now when we have if, else if, then the last statement will just be else. And in this case we don't need to supply a condition, meaning that we don't need to do parentheses here. And this will be evaluated as the default case, console.log serving dinner. So let's make this and we'll log it out. So now you see the case of how we can utilize if else statements to customize the output for the user. In the case when we
let's just try that out real quick. If R is greater than or equal to, we'll start serving from 7 in the morning. It will not 7, 5 is more like it. if r is greater than or equal to 5 and r is less than or less than 12, right? Because if it's 12, then you'll eat lunch. Okay, so I guess you'll eat brunch at lunch, but okay, console.log serving breakfast. Copy that. So else if r is greater than or equal to 12, but it's less than say 17 at 5 in the evening, and say we're still serving lunch, but anything over that we're serving dinner. The hour right now is 12, so yeah, we're getting lunch. What if it's 8 in the evening? We're serving dinner. Cool.
We just have one statement within the curly braces. Now, when I have this highlighted, this can also be referred to as a code block. So when we just have one thing within it, we can actually clean it up and remove the curly braces, just to make it a bit more readable and cleaner. What is the if-else statement? Control flow in programming refers to the order in which statements are executed. In JavaScript, control flow structures such as the if-else statement dictate how and under what conditions certain blocks of code are executed. The switch case statement can also be used for control flow. The difference between if-else statements and switch case statements is that switch case is only used for equality comparisons. So I'll show you an example. Let's initialize a variable, say let job, assigned to the string of software developer. Now I'll show you an example of the control flow using if and else if statements. So I'll say if job is equal to, so I'll use 3 equal signs for strict equality, and then the string software developer. I'll do curly braces, and in that case, I will console.log, writes code. Save that, open up the panel, and I'll run it. So I'll say node control flow.js in here. Because this condition is true, it executes and console logs that string. I'll show some other examples. So I say less if job is equal to designer, curly braces, and I'll say console.log, makes user inner.
हम यूं ही मिलकर इस नए भारत में 4 चांद लगाते रहेंगे, बस एक नए नाम के साथ और आपके भरोसे के साथ। L&T स्विचगियर बिजनेस अब बन गया है लॉरेट्स नुत्सन।
Value, I run it again, console logs that, and I'll have a default with the last else statement, console.log. I'll say works directly with customers. I'll just say sales, run it, and executes this last else statement. So since we are using our if-else conditions to do comparisons with the equality operator, this can be a bit hard to read and repetitive. When you find yourself having a long chain of if and else if statements when you're using comparisons for all the conditions, you can consider using switch case statements. So instead of the code above, I'll comment it out by highlighting it and doing command / or control / on Windows. I'll use the syntax where I say switch keyword and for the condition in the parentheses.
I think we'll just see. On I don't know, let's just write this out. So we have software developer, designer, cloud engineer. We'll just do the switch keys example. Right. So let's do switch case statement.
I will specify the variable. Then what I'll do is I'll use the keyword case. So in the case when it's equal to software developer, colon, then I'll console log this statement, and then use a keyword break with a semicolon to end the comparison. Then I'll say in the case when it's a designer, colon, then I'll copy this over. So I'm effectively implementing the same functionality, just using different syntax that's easier to read. Copy this over with a break statement, and then I'll add a default. So this is another way to achieve that same functionality. Now, the reason why we use the break statement is that what the switch case statement will do is it will take this variable and it will compare it to every single case. And in the case when it is equal to it, then it will execute the code in this code block.
So it
So by
will
specifying the break
come to
statement,
default and print that also, right? So switch, not job role. If it's a software engineer, then console.log develops code case. Why does it have a no, you have to use a colon here apparently. Okay, and if the role is that of a designer, then we can just say develops UI. Let's have one more case. Cloud engineer log develops cloud resources develops right. Maybe maintains and over these cloud resource utilization default. I know I haven't added the break statements. Let's see what happens. In interact with customers. So I'm gonna just predict it will print this and this. So let's see if my prediction is right. And huh, oh, I misspell software engineer. Yeah, it oh actually oh that it printed everything. Hmm. That's weird. I mean, if it comes here, then hmm. Why did it print every statement? I mean, I should have just printed this and this, or logged this and this. Oh, we have a chat here. Oh, it's Checkum. Hey there. Um, you need break. In your cases, else everything. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, eh, it's weird, isn't it? Like I wanted to see what would happen if I did not add the break statement. I thought it's like it would come here and it would check whether role is equal to software engineer. If it isn't, it moves on. But apparently it's for some reason is logging in everything and it's weird. Anyway, how are you? It's been a what a long time, is it hasn't it? Yeah, it is weird. Let me just add a break and see what happens. Okay, it works as expected, but let's see why
Challenge JavaScript
this
to break out of
happens.
this switch case statement. So no longer perform any more comparisons and move on with the program. So we'll log it out. So in the case when equal to, I'll say software developer and save it. I'll scroll down so you can see the code and then I'll execute it. So this is a way to achieve that same functionality. Once again, when using switch case statements, this only applies in the case when you are doing equal.
I believe you changed your display picture or something. Alright. So let's see. Switch case. I'm pretty sure someone would have searched for this already. Executes all. Yeah, executing all cases. Yeah. Let's see. The behavior by design is that it will start executing. So it doesn't evaluate it, which matches the argument, and then continues until the end of the block. That's great. You started the new React course on FreeCodeCamp. That's amazing. React is there in one of the things I want to do after Node. So yeah, let's see. Maybe I'll get there. Do you think one do? The reason you know first is like a super break. I don't get how the case thing works in that case. Let's look at it again. Let's try to understand. We'll start executing statements at the case label, alright, which matches the arguments. It's getting a bit dark here. Let me just turn on the light here. Also, by the way, how's my audio right now? I made a couple of adjustments. So strictly speaking, the break at the okay, alright, that's fine, but raising yet another problem return is like a super break. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Let's do one thing. Let's change this to be designer and we'll add a break here. So I believe it would print this and this. No, it doesn't. It doesn't print this and this. It only prints this. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's still a bit confusing with the way it works, but I guess I'll have to get used to it. Do you know if there's a workaround to not add the break statement? Like it doesn't it seem a bit redundant to add it each and every time? Guess I'm just used to Python. Okay, developed UI. Great. Cool. Let's move on.
What are switch case statements and when would you use it? Switch case statements provide a clean syntax in the case when you are using a variable and performing comparison equality. You can implement the same functionality using if and else if statements, but switch case statements provide a clean alternative for accomplishing the same thing. So to describe the syntax, you would use the switch keyword, then in parentheses, you would use a variable or a value, and then within the code blocks, you would specify different cases to define the case when that variable or value is equal to that case, and then execute code for that particular use case. When using switch case statements, you also want to remember to supply a default value.
Did you know that a major tech company faced a downtime loss of $1.7 million per minute? How did they solve?
Next, we'll cover for loops. So I will initialize an array, call it let numbers is assigned to, using our array literal syntax with square brackets. I'll do 1, 2.
Let's just cover this section too, and then I guess we'll end the stream. What's that? I just learned recently that you can use an object instead of a switch. How exactly would you use an object instead of a switch? Could you just provide an example in chat? Let me try it out.
Now what I'll do is I'll initialize this number to be the index of 0, because we know when we start counting these elements, we start counting from 0. So for this index value of this element, this is at the 0th position, then the first position, second position, and so on. Then to determine what the length of the array is, I can say let length of array, and it'll be numbers, and arrays have a built-in property called length, so that can be stored here. So now I want to go through and log each element in this array by referencing it by its index. So I'll use bracket notation to access it by index. I can do console.log, so the name of the array, square bracket notation, and I'll do the index, and I'll log that out. So this executes, and this displays the element at the 0th position, the first position of the array. Now let's say if I wanted to, I'll put every single element, well, I can copy it over, so I'll do shift option and down arrow, just to copy it over 7 times. Now each time I want to increment it. So rather than having to do this and then do index plus plus to increment, I can just do it within it. And I know if I do the increment after, then this will be displayed and then be updated after. So I'll continue this just for each one, except for the last one, and I'll log that out. So here you see this executes and this displays every element in the array. Now this was a very repetitive process, and we won't want to do this in a real program. So I'll comment all this out, and we can use it to reference it as we build up our.
I'll use a for loop to iterate through every. I'm just gonna. That's the. That's what we want to do now. So. Loop. Let numbers equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then for right. Wait, so for index 0, index is less than the length of the array. We're gonna increase the index each time. Just gonna console.log numbers dot I mean not numbers at the index number at index equals, yeah, that should do it. And that failed. Okay, let's see why that failed. Array is not defined. Oh, okay. I see. Alright, that should work. Yeah, perfect. Then what else? Let's just for sake of it, let's just do console.log, and we'll do let's see yeah, what happened? I know negative indexing is not available in Node. How about we do 9 undefined? Okay, it doesn't throw an error, but it says that there's no. I guess it sort of makes sense, but an error would have made more sense, I guess.
First, for loops. So for loops allow us to get the benefit and the power of programming because you can execute a lot of code in a very short amount of time. So we utilize the for keyword, which is a special keyword that allows us to create a for loop, and we can do initialization here. Say let index assign 0, and we'll do a semicolon, and then we can do while the index is less than the numbers length, and then index increments, and then we do curly braces. So I'll break this down. What we did here is just put the same logic on one line. So we initialize our variable index to keep track of where we are in the array. Then we have a condition. So is this index value less than the numbers length, and this will value to a Boolean value. While it's true, then the code within this code block, within these curly braces, will be executed. If it's false, then it will stop execution. Now we want to continue incrementing through the numbers array. So we need to continue to increment the index. Now, if we were not have this, then this will result in an infinite loop, and this code will continue to be executed, and our computer will crash. So it's very important to have this last value, incrementing it, to make sure that we are getting closer to this condition being false. So another way to think about this, if this is your first time seeing it, whenever we have these traditional for loops, we have an initialization part, we have a conditional part, and then we have an increment or decrement part. So now here I'll just do console.log numbers at index. So using this, so loops reduce our code duplicate. Let's say if I do 4, our initialization part, let num is assigned to 0, while num is less than a value like 100, and let's say the number increments, right? Initialization, stop execution, executed, and I don't have to go through and do console. In programming, a for is a condition, so while the condition is true, you need to make sure that you break out of the for loop multiple times. You've seen the for loop, which provides.
Alright, okay. I think we'll stop this stream here. Oh yeah, there's still the object thing, right? In fact, let me just search it up so you can tell me if this is what it is. Switch alternative, switch case alternative, and in JS in Node. Oh, maybe maybe this is what you want to show me. See what this says. Well, it's always significantly faster. The default case. Alright, let's just reach from the beginning. Yeah, JavaScript's mine as a switch statement. And hard to remember the syntax for or same. Yeah, I don't know what I would have done without VS Code sort of complete feature. Yeah. So here let's provide an example here. Switch fruit, log fruits. Oh, it's I see. It's pretty much that. Hey, is the value app like it takes this value and it executes this uh arrow function? I believe that's what it's called, right? Huh. Yeah. But I mean, this makes sense, but you wouldn't be able to do multiple statements with it, right? But I guess if you are going to do multiple statements, then NFL statements makes more sense. Yeah, he defined a separate function, I guess. Oh, you have provided an example? Okay, let's check that out. I was going through this article. I think you're trying to explain the same thing. Designer. I'm a designer. I'm a dev. I'm a graphic designer. This is your target. Let results. If job things I want to check. Oh yeah, you're checking for dev, which is basically a case. We take that result. Yeah, this is pretty good. Um, Thank you. I mean, I'm of the same feeling to like the switch case. I don't think I like it's pretty good to have. I think even Python in 3.9 introduced switch case, but I don't think I've ever used like I know it exists, but I don't think I've ever used it as such. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for the code checker. Appreciate it. I'll be ending the stream now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care till then. Bye. I think yeah, we'll continue at from while loops from the next stream onwards. Yep. See ya. Take care.